Pelosi had a pretty good one. She says that conception begins at the candlelight dinner. So, in other words, Republicans can't escape this debate. Politico article. Some Politico wrote this. In other words, Republicans can't escape this debate to the extent that they try. Democrats will define them as favoring the most radical measures, and the Graham bill shouldn't qualify. It's a prohibition on abortions after 15 weeks. It would only ban an estimated 5% of abortions. It has exceptions for the life of the mother and rape and incest. So that sounds pretty good, does it not? A Harvard-Harris poll found that 72% of voters, including 70% of independents and 60% of Democrats, don't think abortion should be permitted after 15 weeks at the state level. 72%, 70% of independents, and even 60% of Democrats. According to a Gallup survey, only 28% of people believe that abortion should be legal in the second trimester. Just 28%, 3 out of 10, and then how many percent do you think for the third trimester? 13%, so just one over, a little bit more than 1 out of 10. So that means the people that say you could get abortion all the way to the end are extremists. They're extremists. There is late-term, birth abortion in most of the countries against it. 13% said third trimester? You waited 6-7 months? Why did you wait 7 months? A WPA intelligence poll shows even 51% of voters who think Republicans are extreme on abortion favor a 15-week ban. Of course, Democrats are calling Graham's bill a national ban. By this standard, most advanced societies ban abortion. Many Western European countries have slightly earlier restrictions than Graham's proposal, but haven't heretofore been thought of imposing regimes of strict prohibition. If Republicans truly believe that they can't defend a 15-week ban, maybe they are right to find any excuse to try not to talk about the issue of abortion, but that path leads ultimately to implicit surrender. You can't blame Lindsey Graham for wanting his party to do better. Yeah, Lindsey Graham is just introducing a compromise bill. He's Mr. Henry Clay. He's Mr. Missouri Compromise. He's Mr. Okay, let's draw a line right here. Now, I mention this because in the governor's race in Nevada, you got Steve Sisolak, and in a lot of the races, in the 36 governor's races, they're all making the abortion ban, Roe v. Wade, and they should, rightfully so, because it's almost as if some states don't realize the difference between discriminating against a person and taking a right away and granting a person a freedom. So these are, this is taking... They're taking our freedoms away. Steve Sisolak says he will order his administration. He's running against Joe Lombardo. Steve Sisolak is a Democratic governor, current incumbent, which means he should win. But the COVID thing, he shut a lot of people down. A lot of people are pissed at him. So he's going to order his administration. His opponent, Joe Lombardo, is a fascist, homophobic pile of shit who's opposed to restorative justice. So Steve Sisolak should easily thump Joe Lombardo. And I'm not for sure how Lombardo is going to talk about Roe v. Wade. But let's hear. I think he's pro-life. So I think Sisolak is going to make some hay out of this. He's going to order his administration not to comply with a national abortion ban. And so if that 15-week bill that's introduced by South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham was passed, then the bill was not immediately embraced by other GOP leaders. Sisolak had said, if a national abortion ban passes, I will immediately direct my administration to not comply and pursue every legal option available to protect Nevadans' statutory right to an abortion. Statutory. That means by law, by the code, not by the Constitution. You need a constitutional amendment in Nevada. You need not just a right to an abortion, but just have a right to privacy. A right to privacy is long overdue. It's found in nature, so technically we already have it. So have a right to privacy. That leads to a right to an abortion, including codifying my executive order in my second term to protect providers and out-of-state patients who travel to the Silver State for reproductive care. I do like Nevada, the battle-born state. Was born in the Civil War, born in blood. Joe Lombardo has already said he supports overturning Nevada's current protections, even agreeing to sign a stricter ban than what Senate Republicans are proposing. If elected, he's also promised to repeal my executive order and allow other states to punish our providers, implement cruel legislation like mandatory waiting periods. It's up to governors to stand against these dangerous federal policies, and Nevadans can't count on Joe Lombardo to protect their rights if a national abortion ban becomes a reality, says Steve Sisolak. So there you go, Steve Sisolak finally participating in his own campaign re-election. You have 36 all over the country, Illinois, Idaho, whole bunch of Alaska, Nebraska. You Alaska? Okay, then I'll Nebraska. You Alaska, I'll Nebraska. Well, fuck it. Let's just call the whole thing off.